Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, it's another hour later. There is a valid reason. The show will go on shortly. It will be brief. Emergency surgery for the wife. She's in surgery as we speak. So, therefore, I had to come back, drop her off, make sure everything's fine before, and it just so happened to coincide with our SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream. So, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for party time? That's what I want to know. Are you guys all ready, ladies and gentlemen, for party time? If you are an investor, did you sit there idly by today while the stock market was going down, while gold and silver was going down? Don't tell me you sat there on the sideline watching the parade go by. You should have been saying it's time to get some more of this free money. What do I mean by that? Later on, you will wish you were in while it's going down. Your dollar cost average should be going down, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best time to join in and welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Where's all the emerging millionaires at? Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about party time. The salsa dance is going down tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, the salsa dance. Raise the roof. You guys should not be letting this go by. If you are, it's shame on you. You have 1 year, 8 months to get in the game. After that, it goes bye-bye because 80 to 85% of the population is going to be living paycheck to paycheck. They won't have any money to invest. That's why you have to join the party of the wealthy. And what do I mean? I'm not talking about a political party. I'm talking about that party the SSN Nation members know all too well. That party where you are building wealth. Let's see who's in the house tonight. It looks like Mr. Worldwide has showed up here early, or shall I say late for me, still here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being in the house. Post-retirement travel, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream. And he brings his tagline this evening. Hello, all. Let's do this. And make sure you share the videos. Make sure you let everybody come along for the ride. Nobody left behind. A rising tide lifts all boats, ladies and gentlemen. And we're trying to get you in the lifeboat because it's literally lifeboat. I'm telling you right now, things out here. EV Place, another investor is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream. If you're missing out on the financials today, you guys are missing the big, huge boat, Noah Ark-like stuff. Good evening, says EV Place. Good evening to you. Very, very nice to see you once again. I greatly appreciate your support as well. Post-retirement travel, he says, no way. I was buying SPY and QQQ like a small kid at a candy store. We're going to get flooded with money when the stock market turns around. Exactly. That stock market train turns around. Exactly what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, they've set it up for you. Jerome Powell called me and he said, Eric, is this what you were talking about? I said, yes, it is, my man. And you did it exactly right. I know you're going to be doing that, reducing the interest rate in the third and fourth quarter each time. I know what you're doing, and I appreciate it, buddy, because our SSN Nation members and everybody else worldwide who watches this, they are going to be able to partake in wealth beyond our imagination. So once again, if you still haven't downloaded that Robinhood and Webull app, you guys should already have it. Or if you have Moomoo, or if you have Eatate, or if you have Schwab. I don't really care who you have, but you need a brokerage account, ladies and gentlemen. Yahweh J. Another investors in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. He brings his tagline, hello SSN Nation, happy Friday everyone. He also gave a one piece to the like button. He smashed that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Everybody else, make sure you smash that like button when you come on in here. And if you like what we're talking about and you still haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and click that all notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's go find out today how bad it was. Unbelievable. I need to find out because I just saw things like dropping. And all of you who should be excited by NVDY giving out dividends today, YMAX, YMAG, all these guys giving out dividends, IWMY. Ladies and gentlemen, these are reinvesting at the lower prices. Imagine that. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Oh my goodness, the Dow Jones dropped 1.69%. Woo! Holy smokes. And the S&P also dropped 1.97%, almost 2 percentage points. Holy smoke. Oh my God, the NASDAQ, it dropped 2.7%. This is going according to plan. You got 1.8 months, ladies and gentlemen, 1.9 and 3 days or 4 days. It's going to be 1.8 when April 1st comes. This is your time, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let it go by. Dollar cost average down. I'm all in for that. We're going down that path. We're going to go down. Yahweh J, he says it. Oh, look at EV. EV Play says PLTY, NVDY, Max, dividend received today. Exactly. He was raising the roof. He was going out for that salsa dance. He's getting down as well. He said, oh my, this is what we have been waiting for. The big kahuna, the big drop down. And courtesy of a manufactured recession, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, if you have extra money to spend to get into the stock market, just think of it this way. It's going to be an exclusive club. 80 to 85% of people will not be able to buy any damn thing in about a year and 8 months. So therefore, let the big boys play who's into the stocks, who's into the ETFs, who's into the wealth front. That's right. Don't forget, if you still haven't downloaded any of the free shares that you can get from Webull, Robinhood, you don't like to make investments, so be it. Then use Wealthfront. Now, everybody that's on mobile, you're not going to be able to go to the bottom of the description box unless they've changed it. But here's what I'm going to do. You guys know we're going to make sure it's down below in the description box. And it's going to be T minus. You're going to have to give me a little bit. It's going to be T minus about 1 minute. And then you can refresh, and then you can go down and get your free shares of stock. And if you don't like to invest in stocks, then hell, go to Wealthfront. You want to just have somebody manage it for you? Go to Wealthfront. You don't think you want to buy PLTY, NVDY, YMAX, YMAG, IWMY, and get like dollars, not just a 50 cents, not just 7 cents, not just 10 cents. Of course, YMAG and YMAX could do that. But over the course of time, you're reinvesting shares. These stocks, ladies and gentlemen, the ones mentioned right here, it is time to celebrate. People are getting hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars in dividends if you have enough shares. It's amazing. Mr. Dividend, it's a somber week, I know, but at least you had a very happy day financially. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream, Mr. Dividend. Once again, I'm praying for you and your family. Hopefully, everybody's been able to maintain some resemblance of family unity. And so, therefore, we can all march along the same path when it's family unity. I hope all is well with you, he says. Happy day, SSN family. Yes, I know it was. Check out your email. Okay, all right, I hear you. Unfortunately, let me go check this out. I got to go in there because it's getting awesome right now. Everything's going according to plan, ladies and gentlemen, at least my plan, because we knew the stock market was going to go down. It's just that somehow, some way, it hasn't dropped. It's going to drop even further, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. Only a few people are going to be into the VIX markets, which means we're predicting a downfall. So if I have to run out this live stream, it's only because surgery is over. That means I had to answer the phone, and this is the only phone I have. And that also means expect this to be 45 minutes, which is fine. Everybody on podcast, it's 45 minutes. I'm thinking it should be about 45 to an hour, where a phone call should come and they would say everything's fine. And after you come out of anesthesia, it takes, 20, 30, 45 minutes. So that means I'll already be back after the surgery, the situation. So we'll find out. But just letting you know, in case there's an abrupt end, that means the phone call from the hospital's incoming. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, man. Much appreciated with all your support all these years, man. All right. Now, why Max is paying every week? That's right, just for your records. So monthly is currently 4% yield. Hey, man, tell your coworkers, because they're going to sit there and look at you like, what do you mean? There's no such thing. You're not getting 4% a month. You couldn't have gotten 4% this month. Come on, stop playing with this, right? Then you go, anybody can do this. Look, go here, yieldmaxetfs.com, and go down to YMAX and then see what they've given over the last month, and you can figure it out yourself. And then you can see what the stock price is. 4% yield, damn near 50% annually. And actually, it's going to be 50 because you should be reinvesting and getting more shares for free and letting the good times roll. Joe Nay, another investor, is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings his tagline this evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you, Joe Nay. I hope everybody is doing well. That's right, man. I had to leave my phone on the charger. These dividend reinvestment notifications are going off. I know, Joe Nay. I know. When you saw it, you're sitting there like, oh my God, is this for real right now? I know I was. I was like, is this for real? Are these the right amounts? Oh, yes. Every down market in the past has always came back with a vengeance. This is the one opportunity you can't miss. When there is fear, that's when you go in. That is exactly right. When the market is red, especially, I can't even believe 1.97 for NASDAQ, almost a 2% day. Woo! Oh my. The rich get richer while the people who are living paycheck to paycheck do not have any money to buy. And it's not even worth buying for credit, because if you don't have any money to pay down your credit, you're not going to be able to make 20 and 30 and 40% returns every year. So that's where the problem comes in. You can't use credit. You need disposable income, ladies and gentlemen. Passive income if you can get it. Working 2 jobs if you can do it. You got to do something legally. All right. Let's get real. You got that right, post-retirement travel, in case I missed that and didn't put it up. I used to have a chart. Well, if I was on my computer, I could pull up the chart so people can see. If you miss the market only on these short windows, instead of investing every month or every week, if you miss a short window of only a few days and you take those out of the market, every time there's a market uprising, you are going to miss out on a lot of money. That's why you have to be in the market. So just hang in there, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about it. When it's red in the streets, it's buy time. Okay? I just smashed that like button. Thank you so much, Joe Nay. Give it a 1 piece. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Post-retirement traveler Joe Nay. That's awesome. You have Robinhood too? Agree. Those text notifications are killing my phone battery. I was wondering, because that's what happened. I'm looking across all my things right now. And I was like, I was at the hospital. I'm charging my phone in the car on the way, and then I'm sitting there. Then when I got back in the car, I was like, "Why is my battery almost dead?" Then I was like, when I loaded this up, I said, "Oh, I have all these notifications. At least I don't even know how many. This whole thing is lit up. There's like 30 notifications." I was like, "No wonder." Exactly. Post retirement batteries are low, and in fact, I could get actually canceled. Yes, sir. I have Robinhood. Exactly. So everybody at Robinhood, they know they got paid today. Every brokerage is different. Some people would say, "Hey, I didn't receive mine," but on Robinhood, they're on point now. They used to have a lag every now and then, but not today. They're on point. And who of y'all bought Core Weave? Now, you guys know I've never talked about Core Weave. You know it's like part of NVIDIA. I'm not a fan. You guys know how I operate on IPOs. Core Weave, they even actually started at a lower price, and what a bad day. Very bad day to start. Uh-oh, I have a problem. I'm gonna have to do something here. Hold on a second. Let me see how I'm gonna get my code. But anyhow, I want to find out how it started. That's what I want to know. How did it start? I mean, what a day to have an IPO where the markets are down damn near 2%, and their actual price started at under $40 at 39 and dropped earlier today. I don't know what the actual outcome was. What is this? I don't know what the actual outcome was. Oh, I can't do this. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm gone, unfortunately I have to do this. If I'm somehow MIA, well, maybe not. I gotta clear all these notifications. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. I see right now that was okay. But oh, maybe it still works. Let me know because I have to do something with apps. Well, I'm not going to be able to log in. Sorry. Since I'm on my phone, I need an app. This is what they do with your emails now. I need the authenticator. I can't do the authenticator while I'm on the phone. So unfortunately, Brian P., I can't log into my email. All right, let's keep going. All right, I'm building custom car audio lithium battery packs as my side business in case anyone would like to have a few thousand watts in the. What? Hold on, the EV place. I like the okay, that's the name. What do you mean audio lithium battery packs? I don't follow. Although I'm not into car audio any longer. As long as and when I got older, I was like, no, things were powering up a long time ago, juicing up things, putting inverters under the seat, doing all this crazy stuff to add more power in the trunk and the whole ride, doing surround sound in the 80s. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in the 80s, I was doing surround sound with cars. And people were like, hold up, and not that trunk booming, rattling nonsense. No, we used to put them in their little boxes, put them in the nice little cushions. So then this way, there's not all that reverb going on. Oh, yeah, man. I used to do a little bit of that stuff. Yeah, I used to do a little bit, a lot. This is Financial Friday and also story night. So it works out well. Story night, me and the fellas running lines, getting the, oh man, let me get into the storyline when we start talking about audio. The EV place knows if he's messing with audio, it does matter what gauge of speaker wires you're using. It does matter if I'm using some sort of gold tips and gold plated and all this. All of that matters, ladies and gentlemen, because we want crispy highs in the trebles and we want our bass to boom, but we don't need stuff rattling around. We need to be crispy all the way around. And we had to do the equalizers. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I told you I used to do the damn thing. That's right, every damn thing. So that was one of them. Story time. We're doing it. Guys, we're doing the rims, special ordering rims. In fact, back in the 80s, believe it or not, in the 80s, this is what we're doing. And people are like, how do you get this sound? We had speakers under. Here's what's so funny. In the 80s, they had cars, they had two speakers in the dash. right? One on each end for factory models, then in the back on the trunk on the woofers, right? We're doing the damn thing, putting holes. We got the drills putting holes into the sides of people's cars. So we had sound coming in the mids. We had all kind of stuff. People be like, oh my God. And you know me, come on down on Saturday, doing it for free. You buy the stuff, we're putting it in. Because actually, not only were we actually doing it, we were actually experimenting as well. So people would be like, well, why are you doing it for free? Because we're experimenting. They're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this because nobody else has done it yet. So we're going to do this. That's right. In the ATL, my 6-month journey in the ATL. Oh, yeah. Then we had some rims, ladies and gentlemen. We had to get them hot rims. You guys know how it used to be. You had to have cool ass rims that nobody else had, not painting them, not, in fact, did some powder dry stuff instead of painting. People were like, how does this not come off? Oh, yeah. We did the damn thing. Man, oh, man. So this excites me when somebody's actually doing something different and pushing the envelope. All right, I want to hear about these lithium batteries to power up speakers, which means you're on a battery pack, but the battery pack should be able to be rechargeable. But how does the battery actually? Oh, you're using it for the amps. Oh, I like it. There are some guys needs battery capacity to run their big amps and speakers. That's right. Okay, but you could have. Okay, I see what you're doing, but are you using inverters to actually up the amperage in the first place? So you're using the okay, but you could have ran it off of your you run it off of your alternator, right? Okay, that's what we used to do back in the day because you had to wire it so it runs off your uh, alternator. Because if you run it off your like some guys back in the day used to run it directly to their battery, right? So then the battery would start going low, and that's the problem because you're pulling all the amperage out the battery because your battery isn't recharging at 12.1 and all that. So when they cut off their car, now all of a sudden it doesn't start. That's what used to happen. So I like what you're doing. I like that. Every Friday it's story time. Yep, they're still doing it in audio shows. They need batteries to hold this power. I'm building bulk, rebuilding, and saving cell from getting to scrapyard. Oh, I love it. I love it, EV Place. Yep, that's what we used to do, man. All kind of stuff. People would be like, how are you guys getting this sound out of here? Can you imagine these little equalizers were literally, I no lie, equalizers are like 3, maybe 4 inches long, an inch and a half, 2 inches, and we'd be hiding them under seats, and people would be like, "How are you able to?" Because the guys would come, it would be off, then they go underneath their seat, flip from switches. Next thing you know, they get it right for their ride, and they're just like, "This is incredible." And like he says, we used inverters at the time. If we would have had batteries, so therefore we didn't have to run it off the alternator, then that way we could have kept it always charged. That's a good idea, man. We didn't have that luxury. I'm giving them capacity to run a few thousand watts. Alternators 12 volts times 103 amps. They need more. Yes, EV Place. Back in the day, we couldn't run probably 15, 20, I don't even know what speaker size is now. There's no way we could run 20s. Not going to happen. Not in the 80s, anyhow. We couldn't do it because we didn't have enough power to push it. So that's when the guys started coming out with the boxes because that way they could have more power. You're right. You're exactly right. I'm giving the capacity to run yeah, see, that's the thing. 1,000 watts. It's not 1,000. It's thousands. That's what you're doing. We couldn't do it thousands because there's no way. We never had enough. We didn't have EV. We didn't have battery power. We didn't have nothing what we have right now. Everything had to run inside the car. So the inverter's the only thing you could use. And so also with the inverter was a problem. If you ran it a different way, And even with your car off, you could run it. But the problem is with your car off, you can't get your battery power to be at 12 volts. It's going to drop under 10 or 9, and now you can't start your car. So that's what we had to deal with back in the day. We didn't have any way to keep it where we could recharge it off of an EV. If you could now EVs, you already have power, so you can automatically up it. I agree. I like it. They need more. You're damn right. They need more, man. Yeah, nowadays it's off the chart. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a little something. I dabbled with a lot of stuff. Window tinting. I did some of that. It's basically it was all because my friends. We were into doing things with cars. So I'd be like, okay, let me learn how to do window tinting. So then we learned window tinting, or I learned window tinting. So I did window tinting for people. They'd be like, yeah, man, I'm going to go down and pay somebody like $200. I was like, man, just go buy the window tint. Give me the grade that you want. Because there's a degree of tint, like in certain states, you can only tint like the back window a certain percentage, or the back three windows a certain percentage. In Cali, for instance, you can't do any freaking 100% or even 90 or 70% on the windows at the time because you're going to get stopped. And in some states, you're allowed to tint all the way around, like in Nevada. It's crazy, right? So the guys were all like going to pay these ridiculous amounts of money to have tents and do all this stuff. So I said, man, this is easy. Let me go find out how to do it. So I went to apprentice. What do I mean? A few days, I'm at the guys who do the window tint. Then after I see how they're doing it, I'm like, oh, this is easy. And especially since I have no problem taking panels apart and doing it the right way, so everything fits and it's no lined, so you don't have any space by the windowsill. So I actually go take the window off and actually do it. And guys are like, man, how does this look like it's all the way down, all the way up? It's all. I said, because I took off the damn panels. I took it below the windowsill. They're all like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, man, we got to do this right. We got to do it right. It takes me an extra time, but hey, I like happy people running around. All kind of stuff, man. All kind of stuff. Let's see. EV Play says, guys from CB radio competitions are also my customers. They need crazy amount of amps for a very short time. My cat pack can be drained with, whoa, whoa, 1200 amp? Holy smokes, man. Is this something? How did you? Well, actually, I'm not in the electronic space no more, so I don't know if that even comes out at 1200 amps. Jesus Christ. Okay, so how long does the pack last? That's what I want to know. How you doing 12? Are you doing okay? We're talking cars. We're talking about not hooked up to electricity, right? So you're saying your packs can pop 1200 amps and how long? That's what I want to know. You say you make these? Wow. Wow. That's serious. That's serious. That's serious. Can you connect the 1200 amps plus 1200 or 12? How can you do it? Can you actually is it exponentials? You can do 1200 to 2400 to 36? Let me know if you can do that because that would be sick. That could be sick. Yeah, we used to do all that. Yeah, back in the day, I'm a California kid, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, yeah, exactly. There we go. It's math. He's got it right. It is math. I like this. I like it. It's all math. One pack is 700 watts, so 700 watts, 1 hour. So you could do almost 2 hours. Okay, good enough. Don't need more than that. So we can do the packs. You can connect packs in parallel as many as you need. Exactly. I knew you were going to say that. I was just checking if you can pump out. That would be, then that means you have an unlimited supply. That's an unlimited supply. Well, I'm not going to get carried away. I mean, you can only go so big. But the fact is, 1400 watts, 30 minutes. Yeah, well, on the pack, on the pack. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me see. CB radio company. Okay, see. Yep. Plus your alternator production. Yep. Exactly. That's how you do it. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, you got like an hour. Something like you should. You could, yeah, in fact, you will. So are you okay? Let me ask you something then. So are you still using inverters? Because if you use an inverter and it can already do the 1200, you can have it invert to a higher number. 2800, 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. That's damn good though. Back in the day, we couldn't do that. There's no way. We couldn't do this. That means I can run. That means, oh my God. That means you can run separately power supplies to each whatever you want. That means you can have specialized equipment running on several different outlets. I like it. Hold on. Hold on. How big are these packs? Plus the alternate. How big are these packs, EV Plus? How big? I mean, do they have to go in the trunk or are these things small enough to go under seats? Well, nowadays in cars, I shouldn't even use under seats because in cars nowadays, they actually put computers and stuff under seats that used to be vacant. Because we're talking about mostly analog back in the day. Sure, there was a few computers, but never like under every seat like a Lincoln. Lincoln cars have computers under, they have like 7 computers in the car. It's crazy. So that limits what you can put in the car. So are you using inverters on these to actually up it? I want to hear about this. Yes, they're using inverters or whatever they like. I'm giving them that capacity. One pack is like 27 pounds, 12 inches by 6 inches by 9. 12 by 6 by 9. That's not that big. That's not that big. Okay, so you can put 3 packs along one of the back panels, or maybe I can't. I don't even real. Let me think how cars are made now. In theory, in theory, yeah, you can do. You are you putting the packs underneath the back shelf in the cars that have the shelves? So you're putting them up underneath, so to speak, where the in between the speakers, or are you putting them underneath the floor in the back pads? You know where the wheel well goes for the old spares, because we used to do stuff in there too. Or are you taking them and putting them in the back panels in the rear? Because you got several spaces if you got a 12 by 6 by 9. It's the 6 inches that's the problem. Under seats would always work, possibly, depends on the vehicle. 6 inches kind of gets it. I have one pack instead of my regular lead acid battery. It can start 4 2-liter engines, and I have an extra 48 amp capacity. Okay, I like it. I like it. That's pretty good, man. 12 by 6 by 9. 12. I'm trying to think. Let's just go 12 wide, 6 high. Wait, what is he going by 9? 12 by 6 by 9. Okay. So you know what this means in the new cars. Like, I'll give a perfect example. Dodge Challenger, Chargers, uh, BMWs. They don't have spare tires in a lot of new cars, especially if you run flat. So that means you actually do have a space down below for certain vehicles that you can actually clear out and you can put your 12 by 6 by 9 and bump up the speaker volume without having to do modifications. Or you could actually do a false floor as well. That works. I'm just trying to think, ladies and gentlemen. There's several things. I haven't done it, but I think we can do it. Direct the cable straight from the alternator is best. You can put them in the trunk just for safety. Exactly, man. Exactly. Exactly. That's what we used to do. Exactly. There's ways you can do it. The reason why this all comes into play is because you guys know when low riders were very, very famous, it was all over,
Used to mess around with. I never did the pumps and all that with the lowriders, but I went to go see what they were doing because they're able to use a burst of energy to get their car to raise up, not just 2, 3, 4 feet, but these guys are getting it to almost be on its back. Back in the day, but they had to line it up with damn near freaking 20 batteries. And then all of a sudden it started shrinking. Guys were able to actually use something else to actually get it to boost it up, and it just shrunk, shrunk, and shrunk. But that's one of those things. Back in the 80s, that's what we used to do, all this tricky stuff, trying to figure out analog and trying to figure it out how to do it. We didn't have the digital stuff. So, but you had to find the cables, the gauges. You had to know all this stuff. It's crazy. Yep. We could talk more details by phone if you're interested. Let's get back to massive pack, making passive income. Exactly, man. Hey, how much do these packs cost? Are you selling these packs? I mean, are these things available to the general public? I want to hear about that. We talking business, man. This is business. This is Financial Fridays. It's always a little business. This is how we do it. So this is what we do, EV. We go off script. There is no script here. We can talk about passive income. We can talk about real estate. We can talk about stock markets, but we actually have investors in the house. So let's hear about this, man. Is this a business? What's happening? Let us know. I want to hear about this. I might do a little research because I'm way behind the 8 ball on the curve because I haven't done anything with trying to do what you're doing in like 30, 40, 50 years, 40 years or something. So anyhow, it'd be very, very interesting. I keep hearing, you know, and I don't hear the big booming stuff anymore anyhow, but it is what it is. But there are competitions. There are people that do this. There are people that want this. You guys will be surprised if you can get crispy clean and not have the noise, and it's actually I can't even use terminology because I've been using it so long. But if you can make sure that there's not much noise, and EV knows what I'm talking about. Anybody that does audio knows what I'm talking about. Just like right now, there's noise when my microphone I'm talking into is the one from the phone, but it generates a noise and sound. So now we have to figure out the extortions, right? It happens when you have too much, you have too much power going through lines, and then you have distortion in the line, which in turn makes the music or the sounds that come out is distorted. It's not crispy and clean. So all this goes into place. So even though I can have whatever the power output is, does that translate into a clean sound when you're actually playing the music? That's what we try to do, right? So let's see here. Let's see here. We'll talk about it, man. $200 a 48 amp pack. One pack can run. Is that 10,000 watts? Wow. For how long? 48 amps. Are we talking about an hour? Okay, first of all, there's two things going on, ladies and gentlemen. First, hold on, let me stop. First of all, 10K watts. First of all, without running any vehicle, I'm assuming we're talking about in cars, but let's just say without running any vehicle, it's not running. Once it's fully charged, because you're using a pack, how long is it lasting? Are we talking about an hour or 45 minutes? And then if we're in a car, it doesn't really matter if we're roaming. But if we're at a show, right? Or hanging out at the park, you know how it used to be, hanging out at the park, and you're showing off your system. And you know the difference when you install systems, there's a difference because the extortion actually happens, but you don't realize it. A lot of people who don't deal with stereo and equipment, they don't realize there's actually noise, extortion. So then when you realize it and you start getting into people that know the sounds that they should be hearing and they know distortion and everything that's happening, then all of a sudden you're like, hold on, man, how'd you get this so clear? Because that's what used to happen when somebody would come by and you would hear it. I mean, it's like crispy clear. Then you find out, oh, I spent like $4,000 on my sound system. I'm like, yeah, I can tell. I mean, it was crazy. But anyhow, 10K watts. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you understand. There's revolutions everywhere. There's business everywhere. And when it comes to sound and music and all that, it does matter. Yep. Okay, here we go. He's saying we got 1 hour, 700 watts. Short, but it all depends on your setup and peak power. That's true. One pack, 700, 14, 130 minutes, 28, 15, but you can connect as many packs in parallel. That's all you need. That's all you need. If you can connect in parallel, we're good. Okay, so we got 700 watts. I don't see a problem here. So you get 4 packs. That's well, okay, that's $800. That's got to be a guy that wants the sound to sound right and sweet. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, in the 80s, people would be like, I spent 2,500. I spent 4 grand. I spent 5 grand on my sound. And the reason why they would spend this type of money is it generally got cleaner and crispy across the board the more people had to spend. Because in your car, remember, is made of metal. It doesn't really have anything to deaden any of the sound. Sound bounces around. It does all kind of crazy stuff. So all the reason more is people were using deadening sound foams, equipment, and all this stuff, but they had to spend more money. Multi-packs with discounts, of course. Of course. All right, so you're in the car business too then, so to speak. Because the guys that are into the cars, they usually want their sound systems to be on point, especially when you're doing show, especially when you're trying to be, even if you're not in the show and you want to just be that cool person who has the cool car, cool sounds, then it comes into I'll spend the damn 5Gs to get my sound right. I'll spend the 3Gs to get everything I need. So that's how it works. Multi-packs for a discount. You guys heard. EV Place, is there a website or something people go to? Oh, you can't put your website in. You might as well just put in the first part. Don't put in the .com part. All right? Don't put that in. Hold on a second. I had to do something. My daughter keeps calling me. She doesn't know that I'm doing the live stream, I guess, and the wife's in surgery. So we've been on here, what, about 50 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm not going to stay on too much longer, but I do like this conversation we have with EV Place. We'll have another conversation if you come back on Monday. I want to find out a little bit more about this because I like it. Even though I'm not really into the autos, but every now and then I'm in Sacktown right now. Euro Sundays. I was actually going to go to Euro Sundays this weekend, but right now probably not because the wife's not going to be able to deal with. I got to tend to her since she's having her surgery. She's not going to be getting up. She's not going to be making dinner. She's not going to be cleaning. She's not going to be doing nothing. All right. I'm going to be her handyman. I'm going to be her nurse. I'm going to be her chef. I'm going to be doing every damn thing, right? As it should be. So make sure she's taken care of and comfortable. So I won't be going to the Euro in Sacramento this Sunday, but in about 2 weeks, I'll be dawning back out there. Now, Euro Sunday in Sacramento means guys are going to be bringing some vehicles that are 1950, 1960, 1980, 2010, 2020s, all European and American makes as well. And they are going to be cars that in some instances are worth a couple thousand up to hundreds of thousands. And so I'll be going out there in about 2 weeks, 2 Sundays from now, when the wife is hopefully recovers fully from this. Let's see what I've got right now. I'm working with audio engineer from Europe. Oh my. He designed an individual capacitor and coil setup with Uconnect for every plus speaker. I knew you were going to say that. It changes everything. It's another story. No, that's what I was talking about, EV Place. If you're doing this for every speaker, that's what I was actually talking about. That changes the whole dynamics. Oh man. No, no, no. That's what you need because of the extortion. You can't keep running stuff everywhere. The lines, your speaker wire, you have to have special speaker wire and everything. You just can't do it on any gauge. You have to have it all set up, finely tuned. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. You're saying he has a capacitor that he can set it up for each one, putting out that type of power. That changes the whole game. That changes everything. That means you have unlimited. Actually, you won't even need. Okay, when I used to do this, that acts. We used to use inverters, and it kind of acts the same way. But unfortunately, the inverters, once you start powering it up and getting more amps, now you have no way to run it in the old school cars because you're only at 12 volts. There's no way you can't get it. So what you're saying is, so okay, you know what? I'll even give you guys some other in the storytelling. So what he's talking about is what we used to do. We'd run two inverters. So we would hook it up where we'd say, okay, these are going to the rear, or these four. Then the other ones are going up front. And the problem is that's the only way, but we can't run it when the car's sitting. I mean, when the car's sitting still, we can't do it. You can only do it with the car moving. Sure, you can be an idle, but you got to move that alternator around to keep your battery from getting drained. So this is the whole point, is that's how we were able to boost it separately and keep it clean separately. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to actually be able to get the capacity of the power to each of the speakers separately, not on the same line. You guys have to understand. It's just like the old Christmas lights. Christmas lights were on one strand. If you take out one of the Christmas lights back in the day, the whole thing goes out. So it's similar to kind of like that. If you can put it to each one separately and give it, let's just say, it doesn't even take that much, but let's just say 500 watts. And now you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 speakers to eight speakers, and you can run them separately, and I can do 500 on each one. That's all I need. I don't need that much because now I don't have to run 1,200 to all of them. That's the difference. So that is the difference. Let's see, Eric from post-retirement travel. Eric, take care of your wife. Wishing her for a speedy recovery. Thank you, man. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. EV 6 speaker setup, $400. 2 central, 2 mids, 2 tweets. You can play max and clear with any speakers, even cheap. No inverters necessary. Yeah. With your setup, there won't be any inverters. You already have the power. Back in the day, we didn't have the power. So we had that. The only thing we could use was inverters to up the power, but then we're draining something else. There's no way that we could renew it. That's what there's a trade-off. So you had to balance it out to where somebody's car's not dead as they're driving. So that's what the deal was. Nowadays, with your pack running parallel, you have unlimited power. And now what you're talking about, if that guy in the EU zone, that would be efficient. I used to have a website, but eBay is more efficient. There we go. I hear you. All right. All right. All that stereo technology has changed so much since I was pumping up 2 Pioneers on the back of my old Toyota Corolla. Oh, man. But yeah, the 2 tweeters, the 2 mids, the 2 bass, standard issue. That's how most cars, and then even now, high-end cars have 8, 10. Some even have more speakers than that. But again, they're running, that's the higher end cars. They're running systems that are by Alpine and all these other guys. And they'd be like 5,000 to 7,000 in the high end cars. Yeah, you spend 100,000 on a car, you would hope you have a $5,000 to $10,000 stereo system, but it still doesn't beat custom. Custom is what we're talking about here. Custom is a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. And that's what used to make the guys mad, is when a guy has a car that they spent, like, I'll use today's numbers. A guy goes and gets a $140,000 car. And so he's all happy because he has the so-called brand name speaker system and all this audio and this, that, and the other. And it'd be like a guy who has a $30,000 car and people are listening to the sound systems from each one, and the people are like, that sound system in the $30,000 ride is a hell of a lot better. And what EV Place is talking about right now, if that guy in the EU zone can do what he says he can do using a capacitor, which is lightweight and all that, that would mean a person can spend $1,000 and be good. $1,000 and be good. Eric, even if you have expensive sound system, can play clearly, not just making noise. Exactly. That's exactly right. Because even if that's the thing, even if you do have the expensive system, there's other factors. There is noise. No matter how you slice it, you're trying to eliminate, basically, we're trying to eliminate the noise and have everything crisp. Bass crisp, tweeters, and mids crisp. We don't want any distortion from any of them. That's very, very hard to balance and do. And if you have enough power, you got the first piece of the puzzle. Then you need your connections all to be almost clearly to 100% of what you're coming out of. And the problem has been it starts reducing. So you have this extortion factors. So you can't get clean at all points. But with this system that he's talking about, you can be clean at all sides and you have enough power to put it through. And that's the other thing. When you pump out power to your speakers can't take it when the distortion hits it. So that's why you hear people rumbling, boom, boom, and it sounds like it's all muffled and because they have the power, but it isn't clean because they don't have their system balanced properly. Ah, yes, exactly. There we go. Battery packs 8 for audiophiles. Coil and capacitor setup is for regular guys who love to listen to music in his car. $400 setup for 6 speakers lifetime. Oh my God. See, this right here is a game changer. This right here is a game changer. Are you talking about $400 setup for 6 speakers? How are you? Oh, okay. Because you're going to use speakers. First of all, you're going to use speakers that's not going to require the amperage, and it's still going to be sweet. Because let's face it, speakers are basic. There's not too much difference. So all you have to do is we used to get best speakers that you can get. Then we worked backwards. So we would have the best speakers, which would cost a little bit. Then we would work backwards, so to speak. We'd go, okay, we know the numbers that the speaker can handle. So then we go backwards and we're not trying to actually get the speakers to handle the max wattage. We're trying to actually get it to handle below it so everything is crispy. So that's how we used to do it back in the day. We never worried about, we didn't go, okay, this can handle 1,000 watts and all this per like bass speaker, let's say. And then we're sitting there going, okay, well, we only have freaking 200 watts of power. So how can we get up higher than this, right? So we would have to pump up with inverters to get it to come up. Then we would have to put equalizers because, again, we have to manipulate the system. So we'd have to set the equalizers. And so therefore, that's the only way we could get it set up. So we would do all kind of stuff, experimentations, and then we come up to the sweet spot. The person comes, they listen to it, they'll be like, no way. And people be like, this is it. Okay, here's the settings, that's it. Don't come back. Cool shit. Cool stuff. Those inductors eliminating distortion. You will get to full power even with your standard speakers and standard radio. Oh my, that's a game changer. That's a game changer. Hey, Eric, check out this. FinCEN removes. Yeah, they did that earlier this year. Let's see what you're saying though. It says FinCEN removes BOI reporting requirement for U.S. companies. Nice, nice. I like it. That's cool. Remember, you only had to do it once. The only reason you had to do updates with after your BOI report originally was the fact that you just had to sign up so they would know. That's about it. Okay, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta send a message. I got a message. Hold on. Hold on. Just a sec. I'm gonna do this real quick. But ladies and gentlemen, story night's over. Speaker night's over. That's right. You guys learned something new tonight. I like I said, whenever we talk, we come into certain things and that I get excited about. That's what I used to get. I used to just try and do stuff to see if I can do it. And then once I learned how to do it, and once people come over, and then I learn from them, and they're learning from me, you just get better. You have to have somebody else too that help you collaborate, so to speak. So, um, you know, that's it. All right. I had to let her know can't be talking. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. All right. Well, I like this. I like this eliminating the distortion because if you can eliminate 99% and of distortion, that's exactly the point you're making, is that means you can pump more power to it. So that's why we concentrated on eliminating the distortion. And of course, it mattered on the amps you had. So all that came into play. So you have to, it's a calculation that people don't realize mathematically. And so this is exactly how you do it, like he's saying. You will get to full power. Even yeah, that's what we tried to achieve back in the day, but we didn't have freaking 10,000 watts. We couldn't do that. That was crazy. I mean, we could have, but the problem is the distortion. When you get up to a higher volume and start really pumping it, now you have distortion. And people didn't care though, which was kind of funny. People didn't care. That was the funniest part. They were just like, I don't care if things are rattling around, sounding kind of. I was like, dude, come on, stop playing with us. I hope Dominican Republic likes clear and loud music. Yeah, man, clear and loud. Clear is the key phrase. Clear, because you can have loud music, but when it's distorted, it's not cool. It's not cool. In fact, that's what happens during us concerts when they're pumping out all that power. Sometimes they have a problem with the distortion, and it gets kind of crazy. All right, back to the business at hand, ladies and gentlemen. It's dividend night. Everybody's been loving this. I hope everybody's loving the downside because I'm looking at this right now. Everything. Um, okay, I'm not going to get into who's going to be the blame for CoreWeave. CoreWeave, it started, it says it opened at 39, went up to 41.94, which is the 52-week high, and it sits at 40. Okay, well, that's not a good sign. I'll say that right now. That's not really a good sign. So that's not really a good sign for an IPO. Let's see, 10-year yield is down to 4.2. No big deal there. I don't see anything happening here. That's crazy, but WR Berkeley Corp, they actually had market movers today. There's lots going on. This is very interesting. Lulu, ooh, took a big hit today. Okay, I'm not a fan of Lulu. Intel announces 3 board members will retire. Just keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is your time. You got 1 year, 8 months to cash in. If you have disposable income, this is the time to hit that disposable income jackpot. Make sure you invest in stocks. All right. And when real estate comes falling behind, make sure you invest in that. The other thing I want to talk about, real estate investment trust. I find this very, very interesting. They dropped today as well. That's a good sign for everybody. Why do I say that? Because now you have higher yields. We got like PSEC, ORC, you have AGNC, all these guys. Their stocks are, you could get 1% per month from each one, damn near. Look at this. AGNC is at $9.52 per share. They're at 15%. That's over 1% per month for buying at this price point, as long as they keep their dividends at the same number. The same amount of money every month. Long as they keep that going, you get 15% AGNC. I mean, come on, 15%. Let's go with I haven't even looked at ARR. Let's see what ARR is doing. ARR should be around that too at $17. It's at 16.9%. This is at 17%. PSEC's at 18%. Can you guys believe this? Can you guys believe this? I mean, this is outrageous. I mean, good God. Okay, the reason why I want to talk about real estate investment trust is the fact is if they generally are buying mortgage-backed securities or they're buying notes, they're buying properties, they have loans. The Federal Reserve has said that they're going to reduce interest rates twice this year, which I'm a betting man, and I'm betting it's going to be in the third and fourth quarters. They're not going to do anything before October. All right. I'm betting that right now. It's already April coming up. So it's only really April, May, June, July, and August. So September, I mean, you only have 5 months or 6 months before they pull the plug and say, we're going to reduce the interest rate. That actually helps real estate investment trusts because they can refinance their properties at a lower interest rate, and they generally have interest only rates. They have a huge advantage. So this is why I love what I'm seeing here when we see everybody being able to take advantage on a real estate investment. I'm even going to use the O stock, which I don't really care about realty income, but even they are up to 5.69% at $56.61. But even they are out there. This is crazy right now. MFA, all these guys you should pay attention to. Yeah, it took off after hours, but they're at 13.64. M as in Mary, F as in Frank. Be very careful. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. Two Harbors, TWO, they're at 13.63%. We're talking 1% per month. Do you guys understand? That's over 12% a year. And you could lock in prices. And these prices will probably go down a little bit over the course of the next 5 or 6 months. So you're still going to be good. Let me look at NLY annually. ALY, what are they at? 13.6, 13.5. You're sitting here with opportunity. And now I'm just going to go to PSEC because I know it's at 18% because I actually bought some more of this today. Quite frankly, it's it's not. It's only at, wait, it's only at 13. I thought it was at 18, but it doesn't matter. 1% is the goal. We are there. It says 13. Then that means Robinson was lying to me. Or was it somebody else? I'm trying to think. Who else do I got? I know who it was. Sorry, it wasn't PSEC. It was ORC. ORC. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. 18.8%. If you buy at $7.66, it dropped 3.65%. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be, it's just that this is crazy. Crazy. Charles Schwab Investment Management has 5.16 million shares in Orchard Island Capital, which is ORC. Truemark Investments, LLC, Holdings, also, that's, my God, 18% is 1.5. If they continue to give out. So these are high risk, high rewards, but I like risk when I know the Federal Reserve is going to reduce interest rates. This will help them actually. So you should actually take a look at this. Real estate tokenization. I don't know about that. Just started also. No, it's been out there. You talking about the crypto thing where guys go, well, hey, I'm doing real estate on crypto. Okay, first of all, crypto is thin air. I believe that they were going to do this tokenization before when we had our NFTs, when we had our nodes, when we had art and all this stuff, right? All have been a total failure except for the people that start the tokenization and they get people to give them money. Then it turns into, well, okay, now the business actually has to make money. If the business doesn't make any money and you can't give any dividends, then it's out the window. That's what's happened previously with tokenizations generally. So yeah, this thing, and the other thing is, remember, if your computer's turned off or electricity's turned off, so much for doing transactions with crypto. All right, EV Place. DR will be tremendous business for that. Just about everyone is running some serious music power out of their vehicles. Puerto Rico is another one, and they use the Can-Ams. Let's see, I can't read the bottom. Let's see here. Can-Ams for it. Post-retirement travel, he's giving it 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I like what you're doing over there, EV Place, with the sound systems, because that's a game changer. $400, and you're pumping out that type of power, and you're saying it's clean, and you can tuck it away. So now the aesthetically, there's no lines. Well, we can always hide lines, the speaker wires and all that. But what you're saying is the capacitor, I'm hoping it's only going to be like a 3-inch or 3-inch by 2-inch capacitors. I'm hoping that's what you're talking about. Hopefully it's not something that's crazy. That would be awesome. So we'll see. I mean, you can have properties with titles on the chain ready to sell or buy anytime. Eh, just like NFTs. I mean, that's where, see, this is where this can go. NFTs worthless. NFTs were being sold, right? Art was being sold, tokenization. This has been done already in a different format. So again, if people lose their bank, right? You can't log in, you can't transfer title. That also means there has to be a middleman, like a closing company, to make sure if I send you the money, you ain't going to give me the title. All of this has to be played out. I find this fraught with problems because, again, we've been around this. Ready to sell or buy anytime. Well, you can sell or buy anything right now, anytime. That's why you make the deal. You're moving out in 30 days. I want to buy your property. You're moving out in 15 days. I'm going to buy your property or whatever I'm going to buy. Right. So I hear you, but I'm not enamored because we've made investments as a group 2, 3, 4 years back in tokenized situations, and everything turned out to not work. Right. It worked out great for the people that was collecting the money, saying all these good things, but for the rest of us, we're holding L's. All right. Just so you understand, EV Place. But yeah, people have talked about this for a while. I'm not a fan. Not a fan, really, because you're going to need government oversight in order to make that happen. Yes, capacitors about that size. You can hide 6 of them behind standard radio on plus wire, quick install. I love it. Great. Game changers incoming. Game changer. Yes, I like what you're saying, man. If you can actually pump out that power with that distortion level at damn near 0, even if it's only 0.1 or 0.5, it still works. Right? I mean, if you're talking like what you're saying, then this is like crispy clear, clean music at high power levels. Woof. In fact, that would change even concerts. That would change everything. Because concerts are actually have distortions because it's pumping out so much power and there's nothing to contain it, so to speak. The speaker boxes and all that, it's really not. It's just a lot of distortion, stuff bouncing all over the place. So that would be awesome, man. That means somebody needs a speaker business. In fact, you know, since you're in the business, this is how some speaker companies were actually made because they were figured out how to make their speakers more the foams, the paddings, the speaker materials they made better. So I don't want to keep talking about it, but I find it fascinating because that's another thing that I used to do. All right, it looks like I'm getting a call, ladies and gentlemen, from the hospital. So I'm going to put me on mute right now. everybody. Thank you so much. I had to be on the phone with the doctor. Everything went well for the wife. And so I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I do not have to go get her. I'm waiting to hear from the wife. She wanted to stay overnight just to make sure, because remember, she had surgery almost 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks and 2 days. In fact, yeah, 2 weeks, 2 days ago, they had to go back in because of some her blood was not dissipating. So they had to find out if it was actually something bleeding internally or if it wasn't. Luckily, nothing was bleeding internally. It was from her actual surgery. The blood was supposed to dissipate and it did not. So therefore they came and cleaned it out. So she's doing great. So I just wanted her to feel comfortable. And she was mentioning before surgery, she wanted to stay overnight. So I said, okay, fine, because mental health is very important. If she feels safe by staying at the hospital just to make sure everything's fine, then we're going to find out if that's the case. So I'm waiting on their call. If how she feels, I said I'll talk to her after she comes out of it, and they'll call me and we'll go from there. So we have a few more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 1 hour and 32 minutes, although I was on the phone for about 10. But thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate your guys' support. Eric, assuming you continue to Larimar and everything works out, are you adding your property to a trust here in USA? Good question. Probably not. Good question. No, I'll be adding it to a trust in the DR. Just letting you know. They have trust in DR too. So I'll probably just add it to the trust in DR. So in other words, the property won't even be on the grid in the USA as far as the United States is concerned. Good to hear. Thank you, EV Place. Appreciate it. Thanks. Great. Follow the doctor's instructions. Exactly. Are you in Cali? That's right, man. We in Cali. The best doctors in the planet in the facility in Sacktown is at this location. So everybody's raving. I mean, literally, all the nurses, everybody that's on staff there, they basically are it's like this is who they want. All the doctors here at this particular location is where the nurses and everybody associated with them are saying this is where they want their spouses, loved ones, children to have their surgery. So she's in great, great, great hands. And these doctors are not 25 years old. See, I have a problem with doctors being 30 years old or something, 35, talking about we're going to be doing this, that. I'm like, hold on. That's not going to happen. Where's that 50-year-old doctor who's been doing this for 20 years? I'm sorry. I need that guy, that woman. I need them. And quite frankly, that's who she has. Some of the best doctors on the planet. Best anesthesiologists on the planet, best guys, they're here. So yeah, everything worked out great. And we're on the same page with the doctor. Again, I told you guys when I was a young kid, I was in the doctor. Fortunately, my dad was in the military, and I was very, very sick. And I was at the military hospitals. They're not like normal hospitals. I'm 3 years old. I'm 5 years old. I'm 6 years old. I'm sitting there right next to people that just had surgery and they wheel them out in the hallway. That's how crazy it was. That's right. Leaving me out there with them. When I got sick, I'm back there too, not surgery wise, but I'm back there with my steroid shots because I have asthma, got to open my airwaves. I'm back there breathing, exercises in the back in the room before you can get released. They have all these sick people in the hallway. These sick people in the hallway, they're sitting there doing their confessions. I was listening. They were saying, "Hey kid, don't smoke. One of my lungs got taken out. I got cancer." Another person's like, "Don't drink because this is what happened with me. I had this taken out and that taken out. I've been in the hospital for 6 months, a year, in and out because I was drinking like a fool." So that's what I'm listening to all these people after their surgery saying, "Oh man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have been eating this. I wish I wouldn't have been doing that." So And you can imagine you get a lot of education if you're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was at the hospital down there, it seemed like every freaking 2 months. And I'm sitting there in the hallway with these people just out of surgery, literally. Never seen nothing like it. So when I went to a hospital that was not in a military style hospital, I was looking for people in beds that were in the hallways and things like that, right? And it was like, wow, this is different. This is cool. Then today, have to go to emergency because they said have her come in emergency, set it up, be down there. Today's the first time I'm at this place, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? People are literally in the hallway like it's a military situation. It's at an old hospital. The hospital's designed old. One of my daughters was born at this hospital, and I was telling them, I said, the emergency entrance used to be over here that they now block off. I said, that used to be the waiting room back there. They're like, oh no, it's reversed. They did some other new stuff. And I'm sitting there like, man, this is weird. The emergency room, this is crazy to me. It literally held only like 30, there was 30 chairs or less in it. The emergency room in a major city. I was like, this wasn't here before. It used to be an emergency room that held like 100. Now all of a sudden they changed it. They have beds and all this stuff, and they accidentally took me out that way. And they thought the door was going to open, but it didn't open. And I was like, this used to be the entrance right here, but now it's a whole hallway, some triage place for people and holdings. I was like, holy smokes, the whole hallway was people in hospital beds lined up. I was like, oh my God, this is going downhill, our healthcare system, downhill. They don't even have enough people. Military's on one thing, but general pop, this is a whole nother. So anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, everything's going great. Just going great. Just curious, do you still have a place in Cali, or you just stay with family? Just stay, man. I don't really, I have family here. My daughters live here, but I don't stay with my daughters. Luckily, what happens is, you guys know, I have friends that have houses, but since their kids have all moved out, nobody lives with them. So whenever we come out here, and I just, tell my friends, hey, we coming out here, then they say, oh, stay with us. And then so in this case, again, our friend's mother passed away like now 4 months ago. The house is sitting here empty. So they're just like, well, why don't you just stay at our house? So then that way it seems like somebody's here, and now we can, make sure we got their mail, because they got to go through probate. So now we get their mail, then I send them their stuff and things like that. So it's kind of like helping each other and friends. So once again, when you have friends like this, everything's great. And also reciprocal, because remember, there's such a thing as life. Life does matter how you treat other people, right? So that's the thing. So again, you guys, again, just look back at the beginning videos when I lived in, and when I first started this. These are the type of homes that I always lived in. Not always, I shouldn't say always, but oftentimes I would have homes. I always had homes that had 4 or 5 bedrooms, even though there's only 3 people or 2. So the other 2 or 3 bedrooms would be empty every day. So when somebody ever had a problem and they said, I need a place, or I needed to do something, I would always say, just come over to the pad. We got you. They'll be like, how long can you stay? And I'd be like, you can stay as long as you want. I don't really care. I don't care. Food's in the cupboards, food's in the fridge, drinks in the bar, drinks in the other bar. Outside's the fireplace if you want to chill. I mean, what? And they're like, okay. I'm like, whatever. Food's in the pantry. Go help yourself. So I never cared. So I would always have friends that would say, I need some help, or I have trouble. So they'd stay with me. They'd stay with me and the wife 6, 7, 8 months. No problem. This is everything I have. My friends say my car's messed up and I need to get to work or whatever. I just give them the keys to my car. one of my cars. I'd say, here, take my car. And they're thinking, oh, you mean to go to work for a couple of days or whatever. They call me up and they would say, hey, man, my car is going to be in the shop for 2, 3 months. Oh, man, I got to go get a rental car. I said, why? And they'd be like, what do you mean? I got to give you your car back. I just say, keep it. You got the keys. They'd be like, are you for real? This is what you do. Karma is a bitch. You help people when you are blessed. So again, I'll give you guys my stories. I always said I have 3 cars. Always. People go, why? I say, one, generally, when I'm married with my wife for the last 20 years, wife has a car, I have a car, and then I have an extra car. For when somebody comes and visits, they have a car. I always have 3 cars. Or if one of the cars breaks down or something happens, I have another car. Wife has a car. You never know what situations happen, so I always have 3 cars. And so that's why I could always lend my car to a friend because I don't even need the car. It's just sitting there for when somebody comes and visit. They have a car. I just feel like driving a different car, whatever. So I always have 3 cars. Plus the motorcycle, which only I drive. Nobody's driving the motorcycle. But no, I don't have a place in Cali. Remember that about, what was it, 3 years ago? 3 years ago, moving out of Cali. Remember that? I still have videos up. I got rid of the house, getting ready to go, moving out, going to the East Coast, Florida or Georgia. Remember? It was Florida or Georgia. As it turns out, never lived in either location, but I just want to be close to my parents. And so what happened? The wife says we don't really know anybody in Florida, really, but my family lived in Georgia, so why not go to Georgia? So that's how we end up in Georgia. And then everything else goes down in history. My mom passes away. Now my brother passed away like a month and a half ago. And so all this goes down. I love that. That's how my wife and I do with our old Army friends. They're all over the world. I just hate to bother them sometimes, although they love it when we stop by. Exactly, man. Exactly. Exactly. That's how it is, man. Just like you said, post-retirement travel, like you have friends just like me all over the world. And because again, I was in the military growing up with kids, and then we're still in touch to this day. Just like if you're in the military, my parents are still in touch with their friends, just like you. So just like right now, I go down to Orlando, a guy that I went to high school with, where we played on the same basketball team, the same #1 ranked team in the state of California. And I come to his house in Orlando. And I'm sitting there talking with him in his house. And I'm just like, hey, man, me and the wife, we're just cruising. We just came, we can be anywhere. So we're just cruising. I was up coming through Orlando to check something else. And I was like, just call him up because I'm like, oh, he lives here in Orlando. I call him up and I'm like, hi, hey, man, I'm in Orlando. He's like, why didn't you tell me we're coming? I was like, oh, man, it wasn't that. I was doing some business. We're passing through. But I was like, wait, since I'm here and it's only like 1 o'clock in the day, I figured I might as well see what you're up to. So we come meet. So now I'm saying, okay, man, it's like 6 at night, whatever. I'm like, hey, man, we got to get back to Fort Pierce or whatever. He starts going, no, man, where are you going? I'm like, well, you got to go to work, whatever. He's like, no, why don't you guys just stay for a few days? I'm like, oh, it didn't even dawn on me. Didn't dawn on us. He's like, stay. Okay. I don't have to leave. I don't have to do anything. So stay for 3, 4 days. Just like you're saying. I don't think like that to ask somebody to stay. I just pay at the hotel, right? But every time it's like I'm coming, I just let people know. Like right now, this is the same situation that happened here. Even though I knew the person's mom passed away, I wasn't planning on staying at their mom's house. We were just saying, hey, we're going to be over there. We're going to see you. And then they're like, well, since you're coming, why don't you just stay at my mom's house? I'm like, what do you mean your mom's house? I figured, your mom passed away. I figured you guys are moving stuff, doing stuff. She's like, no, nobody's there. I'm like, all right. I said, well, then if I'm there and you're not going to be there, where are you going to be? Well, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to even be around. I don't live there anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, well, then I'll help do some stuff for you then while we're here. They're like, all right. So it works hand in hand. It all worked out. Um, oh yes, I remember that. Did you ever get reimbursed for those movers that overcharged you? No, no, no. I remember you had some issues. Yeah, these guys showed up. In case people don't know, in California, this is number one. What they do in Cali, the Cali people, they tell you a price like 10,000, 12,000, 13, 14,000. Then when they show up, because here's how they do it, just so everybody has to be aware of these movers. When you're moving and you're going, hey, I need to move to another state out of Cali, they go, okay, they give you a price, like let's say in our case, 13 grand, right? To move from Cali to Florida. All right. Cali to Georgia. It was the same price. So now it's January 15th. So they know most of the time when somebody moves, it's because they said, okay, our lease is up, our mortgage is up, we have to move, our date is closed. So that's why they're coming. So I told them January 15th, they show up. In fact, they didn't show up, is the worst part. That's how crazy this was. They showed up the next day, 16th, and that's when they showed up, the guy starts going, oh, you have more stuff than we saw. I said, no, the guy came here. What are you talking about? No, I'm sorry. It's going to cost you another $5,000, $6,000. I'm like, are you lost your mind right now? He's like, no. And by the way, you know you have to move. So what are you going to do? I'm like, I've done business with clowns all my life. I know what I'm going to do. I already called U-Haul just in case. And I have two huge 20 by 30 units on standby that's free for a couple of months. So then he starts this, what do you mean? I'm like, just in case you guys acted stupid. He's like, yeah, but don't you have to move your stuff to Florida or Georgia? I said, I think I had it going to Florida, quite frankly. And he's like, don't you have to move? I said, what? Because I told you to come pick up on the 15th? No, I just wanted it out the 15th. That's all. But it's the 16th. It doesn't matter what day it is. This is the day you came. Let's do it. 13,000, like you said. He's like, no, it's 19, 20,000. I'm going to call my office and go see. You're not calling. I don't really care who you call. And by the way, you had to pay a little deposit, which is what he's referring to. And then you had to pay the rest along, I think after, I can't really remember. It was a little deposit. And then when they showed up, they wanted you to release or make another payment for the full amount, I think it was. And that's when, like I said, things went wiggy when he's like, it's going to cost you like another 6, 7 grand. And I'm like, no, it's not costing me another 6, 7 grand. It's going to cost somebody else another 6, 7 grand, but you're not taking my stuff. Because once they take your stuff, even if he agreed to 13, it was going to be later on the outside, on the other side, they were going to act stupid. We're not going to give you your stuff. So as it turns out, then I start Googling trucking and all this stuff, and I come to find out they're doing this game to everybody. It's a racket, and they don't take all of your stuff from the truck directly to the destination. Oftentimes they have a second holding spot. They get to the holding spot, then they actually measure supposedly your stuff and say, oh, it's more than what we wanted, so now you owe us more money, and if you don't come pay us, then your stuff is going to go up for sale or some BS like that. It's a whole racket. So as it turns out, stuff is still here in Cali, even though I'm not going to be California Kid no. Unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to be California Kid. It's just too pricey out. It's crazy. Crazy. Yep. So they jammed you up for your deposit. You should have blocked your credit card. I tried to block the credit card. Exactly right. I tried to block the credit card, but the credit card, because they sent over a signed agreement, the credit card company wouldn't release the funds. And the effed up part is the credit card company knows that these guys are doing this. So luckily, one of my credit cards gave me back. So I did two different cards. One of my credit cards gave me back, so it was half the deposit. So that one of the cards gave me back the money, the other one kept it, as it turns out. because I was arguing. I was like, man, what the? I said, look at all this documentation. This is what it was supposed to be. This is what they're doing. I said, they didn't take it, da da da. And they said, well, you have a signed contract. They sent it over, da da da. I was like, and it says if you don't move, if you don't do the move, they get to keep it or something like that. Yeah, I got hemmed up. It was a few thousand L's. I can't. It wasn't. It was like I think it was like, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 1,600 as it turns out. But it was better than getting hemmed up for 13, and then when they do something on the other side, saying, "Oh, we're gonna deliver only if you give us another 6, 7 grand." So I had to take the L for the 1,600. I think it was 1,600. But you're right. I got jammed up, man. One credit card sent it back because it was like three. I think it was 3,000, 3,500 or something like that. One of them sent it back. One didn't, as it turns out. But at the time, both of them were acting stupid. At the time, they were both acting stupid. That's the advantage of the Robinhood Gold Visa card. You can block it right from your phone. Well, my case, they already charged it. So remember, when I did the order, you have to do the deposit ahead of time before arrival. So that's the whole problem with mine. It wasn't like I did it right then and there, and I could just actually call up and call it fraud or whatever. So I had to. That's where my problem came in on mine. If that matters, I don't know the Robinhood Visa card, but all Visa cards were supposed to protect me, but they didn't, which was messed up. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, story night it is. So it looks like the wife is going to be fine. She's sitting there comfortably out of surgery. All is well. That's right. Not only did I do the provide them the juicy review on Google, there should be a video about one or two of the companies because it was more than one or two. One company, it was so wild, man. People called me up the next day and said, I'm sorry I'm late. We're bringing two 26-foot trucks. And I'm like, are you serious? You're not bringing nothing. First of all the stuff you're taking cannot fit in two 26-foot trucks. Sorry, wrong answer, first of all. So it's a good thing you guys didn't show up because you wouldn't have been leaving with anything. And the guy was sitting there still like, oh, we're going to be there in like 2 hours. I'm like, you already missed it. I don't know who you are. So basically, these companies that I called, or the company I called, they were brokers. So they actually called several of these trucking so-called companies, outfits, and I guess they would get bids or something. I had 3 companies call me after the one company came and said, we're coming to get your stuff. Another guy goes, oh, I have a 26-foot truck. I was like, one, I'm sorry, that wouldn't have worked either. And by the way, I turned down somebody, but it would have been nice if you had a 53-foot truck, 53-foot trailer, because all of that would have fit our stuff. Otherwise, you're wasting time. And if you got a good price, let me know. And they're like, yeah, we got the price, 13,000. I'm like, yeah, funny. It's not going to work. Yeah, I made a video. So that was more up to date at the time. I'm going by memory, but I made a video about it, talking about how they're scamming people. And yes, I did leave a review online and I made a video about it as well. And I might have made 2, but I think I only made 1. But I was heated. It was jacked up. By the way, my stuff is still out here. But again, when my mom passed away, she gave the house to my brother. Her house, my mom's house to my brother. So that's why I was probably going to come back to Cali because I really don't like the East Coast that well. And so when my brother passed away, now there's a house that's sitting there and nobody would live in it. So I guess now I'm going to live in it. So, I mean, it can't get no better than that, ladies and gentlemen, right? So uh, there's no reason to come back to Cali. It's a smaller house than accustomed to live in, but hey, you know, It's better than nothing. Exactly. Oh my God, that happened to my brother for a move from Florida to Louisiana. Oh man. Yeah, man. That's what they do. It's a scam. They don't tell. See, that's the thing that irritates me. People don't say anything on the internet. I made a video which probably doesn't pop up, but the fact of the matter is, I left reviews with all the companies saying they're all a scam. This is what this company did. This is what they did. This is what these guys did. Like I said, the guys are sitting at my lawn and they're sitting there. I told the guy, "No, you're not taking my stuff." And then I go back in the house, go to the desk, go to my office, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well, it's back to business as normal for her. Let's see. I got to get these guys on Craigslist, and I only paid them like $10 an hour, and have them come move my stuff, go get the U-Haul truck, and I'm going to my office. All of a sudden, the guy who's sitting there going, give me another 6, 7 grand, all of a sudden comes back in going, I talked to your wife, and I told her we'll give you a deal like 5 grand or something. I said, there's no deal, no matter how you slice it. You guys are playing games. It ain't happening. So I'm thinking the guy's leaving. I walk out with him. I said, hey, man, yeah, take your crew. You're done here. This isn't happening. And so I'm thinking he's gone. So I come back in the office. I'm trying to get the Craigslist ad straight. I get it straight. Next thing I know, I got to get the U-Haul guys to say, yes, I'm coming over tomorrow and all this, making sure, because I had it on hold, right? And they're like, yeah, we still got you hooked up. Okay, great. So all of a sudden, the wife comes to the room. She goes, hey, the guy wants to talk to you on the lawn. He said he's going to give you one of the better deals. I said, there's no deal. Why you keep I said, first of all, for the record, just make it straight. If the guys are talking to you and coming back, don't answer the door and tell them there's no deal. Unless they're talking about 13,000 and unless they're so then I started having conditions. I said, okay, here's the deal. If they're going to honor 13,000, just tell them 13,000 whatever. I need in writing with their signature that that's the cost. And I said, I need your company to sign off to. Tell him that if he ever starts this BS again. So I go back to the office. I'm trying to make sure I get everything together. And then all of a sudden, this dude I see come walking in my house again down towards the office. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I told you game is over for you. The wife should have told you. And now the wife is in the background going, I'm not responsible for what he does to you. I hear her yell. I'm like, you heard my wife, right? The game's over right now, man. This is 3 times. You are out, and now we got problems. Now you are like an enemy. Let's go. So I say, let's go outside right now, man. You ain't coming in my house no more. This is the last time you're coming in my house. At this point, after this, you're going to get hurt. So I suggest you take your truck, take your boys, get off my lawn, and after this is a warning. And I said, you heard it, your boys heard it, the wife has heard it, don't come back. And so dude starts this BS stuff. And I said, dude, I'm going to tell you like it is right now. You're going to get shot if you come back in my house. You're done. Leave. So that's when he gets the message. But that's what it took for him to get the message. Let's go, guys. I said, all right, finally. 3 times the dude comes back in the house. 3 times. But at that point, he was never taking my stuff. Period. Crazy stuff. Crazy. The actual truck driver gave us his number for future moves directly with him after he realized how much the broker had charged us. We were furious. The middle broker guy don't do crap anyways. Exactly. Exactly. That's what happened with us. And the funny part was I was asking the broker, oh, you're not a broker, are you? We're a trucking company. And sure enough, they would actually have a trucking company on Google. It looks like they're legitimate. And then come to find out, these guys are legitimate for a few months. And then they change their name and become a new trucking company and put on fake reviews. I was just like, this is a whole scam industry. Unbelievable. So all these brokers are doing the same thing. And then you have these guys like Mayflower and all these other guys who charge my friend $28,000. He didn't get jacked around like this other situation with me. He paid $28,000. Mayflower got his stuff, went to Georgia, and no problem. So apparently, the brokers are doing all this stuff where it's still going to end up costing you 20 some $1,000s, and then your stuff gets held hostage potentially all the time. In fact, I mean, after you start looking through stuff, you're just like, oh my God. Because then I started calling other brokers, and I find out these guys knew each other and said, oh, yeah, they used to be called something else. And then you go look up to something else, and now you see all this stuff, the bad stuff. I'm just like, oh my God. There's no database of these fools. No, it's a wild, wild west. These guys are not getting arrested. These guys are not nothing. They're just running around scamming people. It's sickening. It's sickening. It really is. It's bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2 hours. We're not even talking about what we should be talking about. Let's get down to business. I forgot about DX, which is another uh, great real estate investment trust. So let's get on that. I forgot about that. I haven't talked about DX in a while. Let me see what they're looking like. DX is 15.63%, another 1%er. But again, remember, all I'm giving you right now is real estate investment trust. You're going to have to study what they do. They usually have mortgage-backed securities. That's one of the things. Or they buy real estate, they rent it out, and then that's what they do as well. So you have to figure out if this is going to meet your goal, and you have to think. You have to do your own research. You have to figure, do you think that the Fed reducing the interest rate 2 times this year, which will probably be third and fourth quarter, do you think you can wait 4 or 5 months for that to happen? Because that gives a jolt to these real estate investment trusts because they're able to refi, like I mentioned early on in the live stream, in case there's people that just now showed up to watch us. Just remember that. So we have DX at 15.63%, mortgage real estate investment trust. Now, see, here's the problem. Mortgage-backed securities could be in trouble. People could be defaulting. But on the other side of the fence, when they start reducing the Federal Reserve rate, and if the bonds go down from 4.3, 4.2, and they ultimately can get into the threes, now all of a sudden you can start having great movement back from 5, back from 6, into the 4s, into the upper 3s. If you can get to the upper 3s, then people are buying again. All right. Home prices may have to come down. People might have to take some L's. There might be foreclosures, but nonetheless, that's what's going to happen, in my opinion. So if you can take the heat for the stock price to drop, so for instance, on this DX, the stock price is 2.27% plus positive in the last 6 months, for instance, right? That's amazing. When the Federal Reserve hasn't reduced rates, it's amazing that there's a tariff war. It's all amazing that this has happened. And right now at $13.05, you can be doing 15.63% if you want to get into the Dynex Capital DX. That is incredible. So you have all of these things. Again, AGNC even the last 6 months. Let's see what they've done. It should have went down, but for whatever reasons, it's minus 8.99%. Fair enough, but it's 15.13%. Their stock price went down 9% in the last 6 months. But what do the analysts say? You can find that on your Webull, and you can find that on your Robinhood, and you can find that on several different platforms. But again, you have to do your own research because AGNC has dropped quite a bit, quite frankly. But over the past year, it's only the difference of 2.86% from year to year. So that long-term investing matters. If you had a negative 2%, but you invested where you can actually get 15%, I think overall you're going to be very happy with your 15% dividend yield and only if your stock price stays damn near the same and you get a 15% yield, I think you're going to be doing the salsa dance every year. Because if somebody said I can get 15%, I mean, and my stock price stays the same, that's a win. No risk, and that's with the Federal Reserve increasing interest rates, not reducing them. So imagine if your stock price goes up and you still maintain that 15% yield because your dollar cost average is at $9.50, $9.55, $9.60 versus something that could be higher at $10.50 or $11. So again, these are the things that you have to think about. There's something here that I've never really checked out, and it doesn't matter because it's Apple Hospitality. Never heard of them. EPR, I've heard of them, but it's only 6.85%. And again, these aren't, why bother? Yeah, stock price year over year went up 23%, which is pretty good. Yield is 6.85. That's EPR Properties, which is Entertainment Properties Trust, which is very, very interesting. But that's how it goes. There's a motley fool doing some crazy stuff. But anyhow, you have several opportunities in my book. That's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. Give you opportunities. Because once again, do you understand what's going to happen out here? Party time, investors. Are you going to be putting your money where your mouth is? And by the way, I should not forget smart credit. You got to make sure smart credit investing, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you do smart credit. Not smart credit as in investing, smart credit as investing in your credit. You need your credit to be outstanding. 775 is what you're trying to shoot for in the next 2 years. 1 year and 8 months, you want your credit score to be at 775. 2 years out, you should be able to get it handled, all right? Make sure you get that handled because you will thank yourself in the future because you will be able to pull out triggers that will help you get some of this wealthy stuff when the wealthy guys all of a sudden implode themselves because they can't get the debt that they're going to need to get at the time. So just be careful. I think there's going to be a debt crunch because there's going to be, we can't, it all has to go with our overall US dollar. We're going to have to print way more dollars when you're going to do this tax cut, tax breaks, and all that. You're going to flood the world with US dollars. And by the way, what's very interesting is the Dominican Republic, they actually are concerned about the US dollar being in their country more. And they have every right to be concerned because the more US dollars and the peso not being used mean the peso loses value. All right, just so you guys understand. So they have every right to be concerned about this. So that's why when they're at 63, I think they're at 63 to 1 right now, and it's heading towards 64 to 1 here shortly. This is bad. They have no way to get revenues because they're doing the stupidest thing on the planet. They're saying we don't care that we're giving the tourists the comforteur, the tourism industry comforteur. So that means they don't have to pay import taxes, import duties. That means they're giving them tax cuts and tax breaks in the billions. And that's a detriment to the country, and they're rocking with it. They're like, we're going to get, Abinader said we're continuing with the comforteur. We're continuing with the tourism tax breaks and tax cuts. I'm like, dudes, you're going down the wrong path. You should cut this off right now. You should be telling the tourism industry, here's what's happening, man. I need these taxes in order for us to get the infrastructure for you guys. This is also for us to get the whole country on the infrastructure side. So that way we can't keep borrowing and reducing our currency value. That's what they're doing right now. This is asinine. There's no way that they should be doing this. The property was so inexpensive to begin with. There's no reason you have to continue to do this. Who really cares about comforteur if you're a buyer? Listen, if somebody told me, hey, Eric, you bought a 400, which I wouldn't, but if you bought a $400,000 villa, condo, whatever you want to call it, townhouse, and they tell you, hey, Eric, it's going to cost you 1% above 170,000. Okay, so I'm going to pay $2,300 a year for a $400,000 property that I purchased. Where do I sign up? I'm like, dude, that's the cost of doing business. That's the cost of my equity in a house. I mean, who cares? Why would anybody care about it? I don't understand. So you would make these guys, these $1 trillion companies worth of revenue combined. When you start talking about Marriott's, the Hiltons, the Wyndhams, I mean, the Moon Palaces, the Hard Rocks, I mean, the RIU properties, all these properties that's building condo hotels and doing all this, you should be like cashing in. If they don't want to do it, so what? You could say bye-bye. Somebody else will come here and do it. We have enough people who's buying condos and villas and townhomes and everything else going on here, land, individuals. So what? If we have 1 million people buying property in our country, they're going to be paying tax. They're going to be buying goods and services in our country using pesos more than likely. This makes 0 sense at this point after 7 years. They should have nixed this if you're not going to make it right. That's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I haven't been wrong about it. I told you guys that the DOP was going to go up last year. I told you because after the tax thing didn't happen, the tax reform didn't happen. I told you what was going to happen. And sure enough, it promptly went up. It went from 58, 59 pesos to the dollar to 60, 61, 62. And I think it's 63 right now, and it's 63 and 55 cents. It was the other day. That means it's going to be at 64 by this summer, the way things are working out. This is crazy right now. So these guys are messing up because they don't understand economics, and they're trying to give the wealthy guys an advantage, which they should not be doing. Again, the wealthy guys control 70% of the global economy. They don't get this. So why are you giving them a free pass when you should be charging them the money? They have the extra money. They have the profits. Why are you going to mess with the people struggling? Makes no sense. The people struggling aren't going to save you. They don't have the money to pay. So again, it makes no sense from that standpoint. And that's the fault of America over the last 50 years. Instead of doing 1950s, 60s, and 70s, they decided, oh, well, we're going to do the old Reagan thing from the 80s. And that Reagan thing from the 80s actually has decreased the value of everybody's currency, everybody's wealth, everything. One person cannot work generally in a family anymore. That's over. All right. You can forget that. That ship has sailed. Two people working now is still a problem, is now more of a problem. Families are living paycheck to paycheck right now, as you guys very well know. So forgive me, I'm doing some things in the back office. And while we're talking, because I wasn't able to do it, I'm waiting on the wife's phone call, but I need to get something to eat as well. I'll see you guys on Monday night. If there's anything else that you guys want to discuss tonight, please do so now. But it's been a sterling rendering tonight of everything. I like talking about the speakers because that's very important. If you can get that zero sound, almost 100%, no distortion, if it's not 99%, or even if it's 98 to the ears, it's going to be so crisp. And if you can power it out, oh man, that would be awesome. But what he's pushing, when he starts talking about 10,000, that's crazy right now. And you can actually pinpoint that. You can do 25, even if you could do 2,500, and your tweeters and your mids and your woofers, and they all can handle this type of power. Holy smokes. Can you imagine your highs, trebles with the mids and the woofers all actually at near 100% with power? Man, that'd be so crispy. That'd be just like, I don't know if you guys know, but the old vinyl, they used to have different needles, right? Well, maybe people don't know this. There's different needle qualities. And so therefore, the record plays differently and sounds differently coming through the speakers. And there's also other things. Different speakers, better quality speakers put out different sound. So there's a bunch of things with sound that people don't realize. And so when your speaker system is hooked up, it gives a different sound. It depends on tracks as well. There's a bunch of things that go into it. And it's very fascinating how to increase frequencies and do things like this. It's fascinating, quite frankly. It's an art. It clearly is an art. All right. Um, we're going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being in the house tonight. Don't forget, if you want to join me and a few other investors in the DR in May 13th, 14th, and 15th at the Punta Cana Investors Forum, make sure you go sign up now. It's only a month and a half away. Get your airfare. Frontier Airlines in a few cities have great prices and free bags specials right now. That's right. Can you believe great prices and free bags? That's pretty good. But a few other airlines are trying to compete over there, and there's not many. The airline prices have increased, and also, sadly, Dominican Today and the Minister of Tourism has not released any tourist numbers. I can't find them for the month of February. Here it is, almost April. You know what that means. I think it's finally happened where they did not have an increase. I know they had a cruise record, but I don't, the way they're acting, I don't think there's going to be an air passenger record for this month in February. It's been going hot and heavy, 23, 24. Now it's 25. Is it a bit stale now? What's happening over there? We need to keep these numbers. We need 9.5, and so far they're underperforming. We need 100,000 every month. All right. I think this is the wife, ladies and gentlemen. I got to run. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I love you guys very much. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I'm out.